Good evening, Unity on the Bay. It's great to be with you tonight. Back after a wonderful holiday vacation. I wasn't with you last week, but I was happy to have Carmen Nevado step in for me, and I thought she did a wonderful job. I really enjoyed her presentation on the healing letters of Myrtle Fillmore and the importance of recognizing the feminine aspect of life. I've always loved that Unity was influenced by so many women, female figures, significant, prominent figures, beginning with our co-founder, Myrtle Fillmore. And I think it's important for us to realize, and maybe we are beginning to realize, that the balance is critical between the masculine energy and the feminine energy. Let me know you're here. Welcome to Shelf Discovery. Put something in the comments so that I know that you're with me. Most of you that are watching are probably aware we do this every Monday evening at 6 p.m. on Facebook Live and on YouTube. Hi, Geeta. Happy New Year to you. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas, my dear. Miss seeing your beautiful face, but I always appreciate experiencing your energy in this Monday night experience. Hi, Angie. Hi, Achilles. Love to you. Hey, it's wonderful that you're here. Thank you for joining us. Hi, Barbara. Happy New Year to you, too. Great to have you here. Hi, Marina. Good to have you here as well. Welcome back. I missed you all last week, though I was relatively preoccupied, as I always am whenever I make trips to Kansas City, Missouri, to spend time with my family. My son's there. My daughter's there. My granddaughter's there, my former wife is there, and they're all beloveds in my life. So it was wonderful to get away, and it's wonderful to be back. It's exciting to have you here, my dear. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is wonderful. I'm real excited to be here. This is an interactive program, so remember, hi, Dale. Love you dearly. Really appreciated the music yesterday, I totally enjoyed it, but I got to tell you too, you did a magnificent job on our Kwanzaa celebration on the 26th. I was in Kansas City at that time, but I caught the broadcast and just thought everything about that service was wonderful. Reverend Juan did a super job presenting a message. The Racial Justice Ministry was involved, and it really, I think, caught the spirit and the flavor of the Kwanzaa holiday. So thank you for that. It is nice to be back. I had a real interesting experience that I want to share with you. To me, it was a big aha. What happened was that the book we're going to review tonight was gifted to me by Nancy Harrington. I don't know if Nancy's with us tonight, but she's often here on Shelf Discovery. She gifted me the book, The Feeling is the Secret. Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard, who is a renowned in terms of the time and space realm, a renowned author and lecturer and a very prolific author, I might add. So he wrote many books and shared many of his messages with us. She gave me this book before I left on my trip for Kansas City. And she says inside she wrote that I probably already had this book, and I have a lot of Goddard books. So I wasn't really sure whether I had this one. It's a super short book. And the longer I live, the more I believe that if spiritual truth cannot be summarized or contained within a minimal number of words, I become, it becomes questionable to me whether or not it's really worth reading, because he specifically states in the beginning of this book that he's avoiding testimonials or arguments to try to prove his case. He's just spelling out the truth as he understands it. And it's a lot like what Emmett Fox did in The Golden Key, which we reviewed on Shelf Discovery a few months ago. So Nancy gave me this book, and I just threw it into my briefcase before I got on the airplane. And I didn't check to see whether I already had it or not. And I just started reading it on the plane, and I thought, oh my gosh, this is such great material. And read it from cover to cover, which doesn't take long with a book that's this brief. And it just spoke to me like I'd never read it before. Then I came home because I thought I got to do this on Shelf Discovery. Hi, Wendy. Hi, Paula. Glad you're here. Hi, Paula. Wonderful to have you here tonight. And Wendy, it's always nice to have your energy as a part of this experience. Thanks for joining us. Let me know that you're here by posting something in the chat so that I know who's online tonight. So this is Feeling is the Secret. I read it on the plane, cover to cover, twice, once on my way to Kansas City and once on the way back. Then when I got home, I thought, I wonder if I do have this in my Goddard collection. And sure enough, I did, but I never would have believed it. Having read it, it was like I was reading it for the first time. And I love it when that happens, because I think that great spiritual literature kind of works that way. You know, you can read it and you're catching it from where you are in that moment while you're reading it. And then you can come back and read it again in, a week or two, a year. I don't know how many years it's been since I first read this, but I did indeed have it on my bookshelf. And I thought, that's very interesting that I'm reading it like I'd never read it before. It's because it's so succinct and, to me, very powerful. And so that's what we're going to be exploring tonight and for the next 2 weeks. Very brief book, but the content is such that I think we'll have no problem spending a few weeks delving into it. So thanks again for being here. Remember, this is an interactive program. If you're familiar with Neville Goddard, let me know. If you're not, this would be a great introduction to his work, because it's such a short read, and I'm sure you can pick it up on Amazon, probably without making a huge investment. Hi, Aaron Moore. Happy New Year to you. I'm glad you're here. Lord, the house is full tonight, and I love it. You know what I love about this is that I think as we explore some of the spiritual laws and the spiritual truths of life together, we need a support system. That's been my experience, because so much of what we discover in our spiritual studies and journey is way out of line with what most of the world would want to talk about. And you're going to find that out tonight, where most of the world is out trying to shift and change the experience of form and matter in the world. We are coming into the realization that the cause of the experiences that we share in form and matter is really our consciousness, that everything in this world is our consciousness projected outward, whether we like that or not. It happens individually and it happens collectively. We talk about it here on Shelf Discovery and at Unity on the Bay all the time, but I believe it's true. So tonight is part 1 of Feeling is the Secret. Are you ready? Set? Here we go. And right off the bat, this is an amazing statement that he makes to open this book. He says, "The world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness objectified." I'll say that again. The world and all within it, without exception, is man's conditioned consciousness objectified. Consciousness is the cause as well as the substance of the entire world. So it is to consciousness that we must turn if we would discover the secret of creation. So right now in this moment, if you have anything happening in your life, and certainly we all have things that are happening in the world right now, we all want it to be a better experience. And I'm not in any way discounting our efforts to go out and make change in the world and contribute in whatever way we can to more successful communication between the human family and whatever it is that we feel guided to do. However, I think it's important to realize that we can change form and matter around, and yet we don't alter our experience until we go into our own consciousness and do the work that is necessary to clear out the, as we say in Unity, the thoughts that we are holding in our mind that are producing after their kind, to go to cause. The world around us is a world of effect. Do you agree? And so if you're trying to change effect, this is an illustration that I use often. It's the idea of being in a movie theater, watching a movie. And when you first go in, of course, you realize I'm walking into a movie theater. I'm here to watch a movie. But then you become so engaged in the movie that you forget that it's a movie. And especially if there's anything going on that screen that you want to change or alter that you don't like, we all know that it would be like crazy making to go down in front of the audience at the theater and try to start barking out commands or moving the images around in some way. If we want to change the picture, if we want to change the movie that we're experiencing, we've got to go where? To the projector. And where is the projector? Save our own consciousness. You know, I've said it so many times, and I've had people say, can't you give us any other advice but go within, go within, go within. And yet it's essential. If we want to change anything, ourselves, our relationships, our day-to-day experiences, the only true and lasting remedy is to find that which is in our consciousness that is projecting outward. And that's exactly what he's telling us here. The world and all within it is man's conditioned consciousness, objectified, moved out through the power of our minds, through our consciousness, moved out into an external expression. Course in Miracles refers to this as imaging. We're imaging based on what we're throwing out into our own universe. And the only way, true way to change that image is to change the content of our consciousness, to change the projector. I'm glad you like that, Paula. It's always been easy for me to understand. It helps me realize I'm throwing this out. You use it a lot too? Awesome. All right, so let's go on here. He says, consciousness is the one and only reality, not figuratively, but actually. This reality may, for the sake of clarity, be likened unto a stream which is divided into two parts, the conscious and the subconscious. In order to intelligently operate the law of consciousness, it is necessary to understand the relationship between the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious is personal and selective. The subconscious is impersonal and non-selective. The conscious is the realm of effect. The subconscious is the realm of cause. Gita says, as law of attraction says, there is only one answer: alignment with your inner being. Yes, absolutely. Alignment, from my perspective, take it or leave it, but alignment with spiritual reality, the divine, align with the divine. Thank you, Gita. I love that. And I believe for myself, it's true and proves true every day. So we have this conscious nature and subconscious nature. Remember, whenever we're dealing with anything in this experience, the human experience, it's always going to be perceived from a dualistic perspective. Whatever names you choose, like I prefer to call this the conditioned nature and the unconditioned nature. The conditioned nature is that which I understand myself to be based on 68 years of conditioning in the human form. The unconditioned nature, or the subconscious nature, would be that which I truly am when the conditioning, or we could call it the mental programming, is removed. Hi, Pam. That's okay that you're late. You're not late. You're right on time. That's what I always say to myself when I think I'm late. I'm right on time. And typically it's true. We're always in the right place at the right time. Amen. Amen. Now, where was I? I love it when I get lost and off my track. So that's whatever you choose to call it. You could call it the egoic nature and the Christ nature. You can call it the sensate nature and the spiritual nature. So the terminology doesn't really matter. And by the way, Pam, the book is Feeling is the Secret by Neville Goddard. Was given to me as a gift prior to Christmas by Nancy Harrington, who's often here joining us on Monday nights, but apparently is not able to be with us tonight. So we have these two dimensions, or two natures, the conscious and the subconscious. Now he goes on to say, through his power, of course, I hope that you all know that this is all written out of the time in which it was written. So they're not exactly liberal in their use of understanding terms, his and her, male and female, man and woman. So through his or her power to imagine and feel, and his or her freedom to choose the idea he will entertain, man and woman has control over creation. Control of the subconscious is accomplished through control of your ideas and your feelings. He goes on to say, feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. So it becomes very important, and Gita, you'll understand this completely. It becomes very important then on our spiritual journey to become as aware as possible of what we're feeling. And it's not necessarily the realm of emotion. When I speak of feeling, what I'm really talking about is an internal, I don't even know that there's words for it, an internal knowing. When you really get something into your gut, emotional scale. Yep, Gita. When you really get something into your gut and you're resonating with it and you're alive with it. And see, for a lot of us, that's what's happened in terms of our conditioned nature, is we've become totally invested in believing what is not true. And to the subconscious, it doesn't matter particularly whether it's true or not. It takes it in and it projects it outward onto the screen of our lives. Internal guidance. See, part of, for me, and I think for a lot of us, the conditioned mind, the conscious mind, has become so immersed in its conditioning that it doesn't even realize that there's another dimension to explore. It doesn't even realize that. So for the majority of humans that I won't say interact with, because I have a lot of people that are really working to become more conscious and more aware, but many of us on this planet are simply completely sold or bought into this idea that we are no more than victims circulating out into a world of challenges and difficulties over which we have no control. This is one of the great freedoms, not only of the work of Neville Goddard, but of many spiritual activities that are taking place on our planet right now, is this recognition that the driver of the experiences of our lives is none other than we ourselves. And so it becomes very important to stay in touch with what we're feeling in any moment, what we're really invested in, and realize that whenever situations or circumstances are not going our way in life, good possibility that that's an invitation, an opportunity, not a misfortune, but an invitation and an opportunity to uncover some aspect of our projector, our mind, our consciousness that is objectifying or projecting out into our world according to our belief, according to our faith, according to our conviction. Okay, let's see what else he has to say here. Let me know what you think about this. I never come into these Monday night programs believing that I have some kind of truth, or that Neville Goddard has some kind of truth, or that Charles and Myrtle Fillmore have some kind of truth that you don't already have. And many of you will have different perspectives, not only from Neville Goddard, but from me, and in your interpretation of what he's saying. So I'm really always interested in how you're hearing these words as I read them. He says, feeling is the one and only medium through which ideas are conveyed to the subconscious. Control of your feeling is all important to a full and happy life. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. Wow. I'm going to say that one again. Never entertain an undesirable feeling, nor think sympathetically about wrong in any shape or form. And because we're so connected to this victim consciousness, it's hard for us to remember that we are our own saviors. We are the liberators of ourselves. And we do that through the power of this amazing thing that we have called a mind. It's not even really a thing, but it's a dimension of ourselves. And we are the guardians of what we open the door and let in, or what we choose to gently and lovingly say, no, thank you. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. No problem there. Do not dwell on the imperfection of yourself or others. See, part of the conditioning here is to dwell almost completely and solely on the imperfection we perceive within ourselves and others. But remember, the more we invest in that, the more it's going to become the reality in our life, which is why there appear to be so many misfortunes and tragedies occurring all over in our lives and in the world at large, is because we're forgetting that we have this amazing key in our mind to determine what we will accept and allow to come in, what we will entertain, I think is a very good word that he uses, and what we won't entertain. Because he says to absorb yourself in the imperfection of yourself or other people is to impress the subconscious with these limitations, you see, because we're focused on it. It's the same thing, like Gita, I know you know this, it's like law of attraction, and many of you that are familiar with law of attraction, Abrahamics, you get this. You're going to experience in your life whatever it is that you're putting your focus on. What you do not want done unto you, do not feel that it is done unto you or another. Do not feel that. This is the whole law of a full and happy life. Everything else is commentary. We are the sole determiners, and it is our decision, my friends, even though through victimization we have come to believe that we don't have any control over this. It's the key. And we can go into all kinds of exciting and interesting and entertaining renditions of spiritual truth and reality. And I do that all the time because I'm always intrigued and I'm always interested. But the bottom line is you are the guardian of your own consciousness. And until you and I step up to that plate, and it's an ongoing practice. I keep reminding myself of that because one day I wake up and I think, wow, like I'm on the verge of enlightenment. And then I go out into the world and it's like 5 minutes on the streets in Miami. It's like, what happened to my state of enlightenment? It's a practice. He just says, yes, it is up to us to reach for a feeling thought. Yes, a good feeling thought, a thought that gives us hope and promise and possibility, and to saturate ourselves. But it's a practice, so it doesn't happen overnight. I've been doing this for years. The good news is, I believe, and I say this in all humility, I think I'm better now than I've ever been. And it doesn't really matter in the world of conditioning, and I say this, I'm conscious of what I'm saying. It doesn't really matter what's going on in our world now or what may happen. When we have control over our consciousness, we have control over the manner in which we are perceiving all things, even those things that may seem to be extremely unfortunate, challenging, or difficult. So this key to understanding the power of our consciousness and the control that we are given over what we're throwing out there onto the screen of our lives is truly the key. Everything else, he says, is commentary. Neville Goddard goes on to say, the subconscious is not concerned with the truth or falsity of your feeling. It always accepts as true that which you feel to be true. So it doesn't really matter from a spiritual perspective whether what you're putting your focus on is true or false. The subconscious is simply going to absorb it out of the feeling that you're experiencing, and it will produce then accordingly. What do you think of this guy, Neville Goddard? I researched him. I've researched him many times, and I know he passed away in 1972 at the tender age of 67, I think it was. And I tried to find out what happened that he passed away at that age. There's nothing I could find on the guy's passing, but he certainly left us some gems here. The subconscious never alters the accepted beliefs of a man or woman. It outpictures them to the last detail, whether or not they are beneficial. He goes on to say, to think feelingly on any state impresses it on the subconscious. Therefore, if you dwell on difficulties, barriers, or delay, the subconscious, by its very non-selective nature, it's neutral, accepts, he didn't say it's neutral, I'm throwing that in. By its very non-selective nature, accepts the feeling of difficulties and obstacles as your requests and proceeds to produce them in your outer world. You see, that happens, again, individually, and it also happens collectively, I believe. So if you don't like what you are seeing, if you don't like your experience, if we collectively as a human race don't like what we're seeing, don't like our experience, we need to remember that it is the direct outpicturing to the last detail of what we're investing our feeling and our resonance with and our belief in. Let's see here, move along a bit. Short book. We're going to just wrap up 1/3 of it tonight, and then we'll finish the next two, also very brief portions of it over the next couple weeks. Your desires, he says, are not subconsciously accepted until you assume the feeling of their reality. For only through feeling is an idea subconsciously accepted, and only through this subconscious acceptance is it ever expressed. Aaron, I'm so glad you're making a statement here. Let's see, because I love your mind and your heart. So are you saying if we begin a statement with "you make me feel," it would serve us best to stop at that point and rethink the whole thing? Amen and amen and amen. Yes, you make me feel. Nobody, now this again is just my perspective, nobody can make us feel anything, my friends. We are the guardians of our consciousness, and so it is. Dale says some authors will see them as separate. Yes. And there's something great about studying different authors and different perspectives. This Sunday at Unity on the Bay, shameless plug, I'm going to be talking about the origins of unity, but from the origins of the unity movement, but from a slightly different perspective. Now, it's not just going to be an historical account, but it's going to be the process that the Fillmores went through in order to receive what is now known as the unity movement around the world, the process that they went through. And I believe what happened was this: they had peril in their lives. In that peril, they were unable to find solutions in the external realm. So they began a very dedicated study of many different fields of spiritual and religious thought, trying on what worked for them. You see, we're really all of us responsible for determining our own belief system here. You cannot create a turnkey belief system for everybody, even though, dear God knows, we try, don't we? I know I have. I'm going to do everything I can to get you to understand what I believe so that you will believe it with me. Doesn't happen that way. That's one of the shortcomings, I believe, of religion, is that somebody comes up with this inspired idea of how a life can be lived, and the next thing you know, we turn it into an institution. And we say, everybody come in because this person has found a way to live, and we all need to follow them. No one can find the way for you to live except yourself. And Wendy, hi, Wendy. Hi, Wendy. Thank you so much for being here. So we really do a device to others by feeling positive. We really do a device to others by feeling positive. I think what we do, I'm not sure exactly what you mean by that, Wendy, but service. There you go. So we really do a service to others by feeling, amen, amen. And we do a lot more service to others by feeling positive than we do preaching at them. Because, words are cheap and people are really just looking at our example. They're looking at how we live our lives. That's the thing I find interesting about ministry, is that it's really, challenging, to dedicate, whether you're a minister or not, to dedicate your life to being a messenger of truth. And not because you don't have the right truth or because you have the wrong truth or whatever, but just because you have to live in integrity with it. And sometimes as a minister, I've done better with that than others. But again, I think every day gets better. And that's good. That's heartening to me, because it means even though the challenges don't necessarily go away, because they're still showing me the dimensions of my own consciousness that I'm unaware of, they lessen and they do not hold their grip on me as long as they used to. Let's wrap this up because I'm already a little over time. Just to say, the end of this first chapter, he says, you are already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you do not see it. I love it when these authors come out and just put it on the line. You're already that which you want to be, and your refusal to believe this is the only reason you don't see it. We never find that which we want. We find only that which we are. See it differently. Amen, fam. I get so frustrated with my sister, but it's me that has to change my story. Bingo. I love you all so much. Not just for being a part of this experience on Monday nights. I'm done with the book. I have one more piece to read, but not just because of your presence on Monday nights, because of your honesty and your candor and your willingness to do your best to find new ways of living and to change yourself, knowing that that's the only way we're ever going to be able to change the world. Dale, he has that Florence Scovel, yes, Shin directness. He does. And people don't always take well to that, It's because he throws it out in big doses. Anyway, I got to wrap it up, folks. Let you get on your way. I'm so grateful to be back in Miami and with all of you. Next week, we're going to talk about an interesting subject, sleep, from Neville Goddard's perspective, and also prayer. And he has a very different twist on prayer. Probably won't seem that different to you. But yes, Gita, it is a constant practice. Love to you, Dale, and love to everybody. Have a wonderful evening, and I hope to see you again next week, 6 p.m. Shelf Discovery, Facebook Live, and YouTube. Love you all. Have a wonderful evening and a very happy New Year. God bless.